My name is Daniel. I am 30 years old, living in Chicago. To most people, my life looks good. I have a stable job, and I earn about $15,000 every month. It is more than enough for one person, and even for a small family. People often tell me, "You are lucky. At your age, you already make so much." On the outside, everything seems perfect. But inside my marriage, things are not as smooth as they look. My wife, Emily, and I got married 2 years ago. She is a sweet, hard-working woman, and we now have a baby boy who is 10 months old. Since giving birth, Emily has been staying at her parents' house. Her mother helps her take care of the baby, because raising a child is not easy. Emily works online. Some months she makes $2,000 or $3,000, but other months only $500 or $1,000. Her work is not steady. Before we got married, we made a plan. Emily's income would be used for daily living expenses, child costs, and bank loan interest if we had any. My income, on the other hand, would be saved for buying a house, land, and long-term security. That plan worked well in the beginning. After only 2 years, we already bought a house and a piece of land. Of course, we still owe the bank some money, but Emily pays the interest each month, about $400 to $500. From the outside, our marriage looks strong. We have a baby, a house, and land. But quietly, Emily has been unhappy. Recently, she told me she feels stressed. She says she doesn't have enough money, even though I give her $2,000 every month. For me, I thought $2,000 was enough. But for her, it is not. One evening, Emily called me while I was still at the office. Her voice sounded tired, almost like she had been crying. "Daniel," she said softly, "I need to talk to you." "What is it?" I asked, a little distracted, still looking at my computer screen. "You make over $15,000 a month, but you only send me $2,000. Do you think that is enough? Do you know how much milk and diapers cost these days?" Her voice was calm, but I could hear the frustration underneath. I sighed. "Emily, we agreed before we married. Your income covers daily expenses and child costs. My income is for savings and investments. Because of that, we already bought a house and land. Isn't that a good plan?" There was silence on the phone. Then she spoke again, but her tone was sharper. "That plan worked before we had a baby. But now things are different. I earn less, and the baby needs more. Sometimes I even have to borrow from friends just to pay for milk. Do you think that feels good for me?" Her words made me pause. I knew she had borrowed money before, but I had stayed quiet, thinking it was only temporary. "I told you I would cover the baby's costs now," I explained. "You don't need to use your money for him anymore. I will pay you back if you show me receipts." But Emily's voice rose. "That's not the point, Daniel. It feels like we are living as two separate people, not as a team. I don't want to send you receipts like I'm an employee. I'm your wife. We should share, not divide everything like a business deal." Her words cut deep, but I still believed I was right. I managed money better. If I gave her more, maybe she would spend without saving. That night, when the call ended, I sat at my desk, feeling uneasy. For the first time, I realized our agreement, which once felt smart, was now pulling us apart. The next weekend, I drove to Emily's parents' house to visit her and the baby. When I walked in, I saw her sitting on the sofa with our son in her arms. She looked tired. Dark circles were under her eyes, and her hair was messy, like she had not slept properly for days. "Hi," I said gently, kissing the baby's forehead. He smiled at me, and my heart softened. Emily forced a small smile. "He was awake 3 times last night. I barely slept." I sat beside her. "You should rest more. Your mom can help. She already helps a lot." Emily said. But some things only a mother can do. She looked down at the baby and then at me. Do you know how much formula milk costs now? Almost $50 a can. He finishes one in less than a week. Add diapers, vitamins, doctor visits. It's not small money. I nodded, but inside, I thought $2,000 should still be enough. Then her voice dropped. Last month, I had to borrow from my cousin. Just $100. But it made me feel so embarrassed. I didn't even tell you because I didn't want to argue again. Her words hit me harder than I expected. Borrowing money from family, while I was saving thousands every month, it sounded wrong. Why didn't you tell me? I asked quietly. Because I knew what you would say, she answered, her eyes filling with tears. You would say I don't know how to manage money. You would say I should spend less. But what can I cut? Daniel, should I stop buying milk for our baby? Should I ignore when he needs medicine? Her voice cracked, and she began to cry. I held the baby awkwardly while watching her wipe her tears. For the first time, I felt a little guilty. Maybe I had been too strict, too focused on saving, and not enough on her feelings. Still, part of me whispered, if I give her more, will she really save it, or will it disappear without results? After that emotional talk, I wanted to show Emily I was trying to help. A few days later, I called her again. Emily, I said, I've been thinking. From now on, I will cover all the baby's expenses. Formula, diapers, vitamins, doctor visits, everything. You don't need to use your money for him anymore. She was quiet for a moment. Really, you will pay for everything? Yes, I replied. But I need to know exactly how much we spend each month. So please, keep the receipts. At the end of the month, send them to me, and I will pay you back. I thought this was a fair system. I wanted transparency. I wanted to know where every dollar went. At first, Emily agreed. For 1 month, she collected all the receipts: milk, diapers, baby clothes, medicines, even small things like baby wipes. She put them neatly in an envelope. At the end of the month, she handed it to me. I added everything. The total shocked me, almost $2,000. I sighed and shook my head. $2,000 just for a baby? That's more than I expected. Emily crossed her arms. That's why I've been stressed. I told you expenses are high. I paid her back, but inside, I felt uncomfortable. $2,000 a month for a baby felt too much. I began to wonder if some of the expenses were unnecessary. The next time we talked, I asked carefully, do you think we can reduce some costs, maybe buy a cheaper brand of diapers or less expensive vitamins? Her eyes widened. Daniel, are you serious? This is our baby. Do you really want to save money on his health? Her voice was hurt, almost angry. That night, I realized something important. Even though I thought my receipt system was smart, to Emily it felt cold. To her, it was not about numbers. It was about trust, teamwork, and love. The next weekend, Emily and I sat down at her parents' dining table. The baby was sleeping, so it was a good moment to talk. She looked at me seriously, her hands folded tightly in front of her. Daniel, she began, this receipt system doesn't work for me. It feels wrong. Wrong? Why? I asked, surprised. I pay back everything. You don't lose any money. She shook her head. It feels like we're living as two separate people. Like roommates, not husband and wife. I keep the receipts, you check them, and then you pay. That's not how a marriage should work. We're supposed to be a team. I leaned back in my chair. But Emily, this way I know exactly where the money goes. It's more organized. Her eyes filled with tears. It's not about organization. It's about trust. Do you not trust me with money? Do you think I would waste it? I hesitated. Part of me did think she spent too freely, but saying that out loud would only hurt her more. She continued, her voice rising. In most families, The wife holds the money and manages the household. That's normal. The husband earns, and the wife takes care of the family's daily needs. Why can't we do that? Why do you treat me like an accountant who has to prove every expense? Her words hit me hard. I never thought about it that way. For me, money was about security and saving for the future. For her, money was about care, teamwork, and responsibility. Then she looked straight into my eyes. Daniel, I want you to give me $4,000 every month. I will use it for the baby and the house. That's what we need. Her demand shocked me. $4,000, that's too much, I said quickly. $2,000 is already enough. I'm covering the baby's costs. Why do you need more? Her shoulders sank. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Because I don't want to feel like I'm begging my own husband for money. After Emily asked me for $4,000, the room became very quiet. I stared at her, and she stared back at me with red, watery eyes. The air between us felt heavy, like a storm waiting to explode. Emily, I said slowly, I don't think giving you that much money every month is wise. You already know I save and manage money better. If I keep it, I can grow it, buy more assets, and build security for our family. Her lips trembled. But what about now? Daniel, I'm living with your child every single day. I'm tired, I'm stressed, and I feel alone. I don't need to hear about future assets. I need help today. Her voice cracked, and she started crying openly. She covered her face with her hands, her shoulders shaking. I reached across the table and touched her arm gently. Emily, please don't cry. I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want us to have a strong future. She pulled her arm away and whispered, Do you know how humiliating it feels? I'm your wife, but I have to borrow money from friends to buy milk for our baby. And you, with your big salary, think $2,000 is enough. Her words cut deeply. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but no words came out. I felt trapped between my logic and her emotions. Finally, she wiped her tears, stood up, and said quietly, Forget it. You will never understand. She walked into the bedroom, leaving me alone at the table. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty chair she left behind. I believed I was doing the right thing, saving, planning, building. But why did it feel so wrong in this moment? A few days later, Emily stopped talking about money. She acted normal when I visited, smiled at me, and never mentioned the argument again. But her silence was louder than her words. I knew she had not forgiven me. She had only given up on trying to change my mind. One evening, after work, I met up with two of my old college friends at a cafe. We hadn't seen each other for months, and I thought it would be nice to relax. After ordering coffee, the conversation slowly turned to family life. How's Emily? One of them asked. And the baby must be keeping you busy. I smiled a little. Yes, the baby is growing fast. Emily is staying at her parents' house for now, so she has some help. But I hesitated, stirring my coffee. But what my other friend pushed. I sighed. She wants me to give her $4,000 every month. I already send her $2,000. Plus, I cover the baby's costs. Isn't that enough? I make $15,000 a month, but I save most of it. I think that's smart. She doesn't see it that way. My friends looked at each other. Finally, one spoke. Honestly, Daniel, I think $2,000 in Chicago is not much. Especially with a baby. Formula, diapers, clothes, it adds up. The other nodded. It's not just about money, you know. Wives want to feel supported. Maybe she doesn't care about the exact number. Maybe she wants to feel that you trust her and value her role. I frowned. But I do value her. I just don't want to waste money. Emily isn't good at saving. She's worked for years, but hasn't saved anything. My first friend leaned forward. Maybe so. But think about it, she's with your baby 24 hours a day. She's tired, stressed, and probably feels trapped. If you only give her a set amount, she might feel like she's not your partner, but your employee. Their words made me think, but I didn't admit it. I just nodded quietly and sipped my coffee. Later that night, as I drove home, their voices stayed in my head. Was I really being wise and responsible, or was I being cold and controlling? A week later, I visited Emily and the baby again. At first, everything seemed normal. She smiled when I came in, and the baby laughed when I picked him up. For a short while, it felt peaceful. But after dinner, Emily suddenly asked, "Daniel, did you think about what I said about giving me more money each month?" I froze for a moment, then answered carefully, "Yes, I thought about it. But Emily, I still believe 2,000 is enough. I'm already paying for the baby's costs separately. If I give you 4,000, that's almost half of my salary gone each month. It doesn't make sense when I'm trying to save for our future." Her face darkened. "Our future, what about our present? You always talk about tomorrow, but I'm the one struggling today. I'm the one buying milk at midnight, taking the baby to the doctor, worrying about bills." I try to keep my voice calm. "I understand, but I manage money better. Look at the results. We already have a house and land after only 2 years. That's because I plan carefully. If I let you handle more, we might not save as much." Her eyes filled with tears again. "So you think I'm irresponsible, that I can't be trusted with money?" I hesitated. "I didn't say that, but—" She cut me off, her voice rising. "But that's what you mean. Do you know how it feels to be your wife and still feel like a child asking for pocket money? Do you know how humiliating it is to borrow from friends when my husband makes 15,000 a month?" Her words echoed in the room. I wanted to argue, but something in her voice made me stay quiet. She was not just angry. She was hurt, deeply hurt. That night, when I left her parents' house, I sat in the car for a long time before starting the engine. My chest felt heavy. For the first time, I wondered if money, which I thought would secure our marriage, was actually tearing it apart. That night, back in my apartment, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind spinning. Emily's voice kept echoing in my head. "Do you know how humiliating it is to borrow from friends when my husband makes 15,000 a month?" I turned to the side, then to the other side, but sleep would not come. Instead, questions filled my mind. Am I being unfair, or am I being practical? Is Emily asking for too much, or am I giving too little? What if she stops trusting me completely? I picked up my phone and scrolled through social media. I found posts from other men talking about family finances. Some said, "The wife should handle the money. That's tradition." Others wrote, "No, the husband should control savings. Women spend too much." The comments made me feel even more confused. There was no single answer. Every family was different. I remembered my friend's words from the cafe, "It's not just about money. Maybe she wants to feel that you trust her and value her role." Did I really value Emily's role? Of course, I loved her. But maybe I didn't show it the way she needed. I thought about her daily life. Waking up 3 times in the night for the baby. Feeding, washing, playing, worrying. Meanwhile, I slept peacefully most nights, then went to work, focusing on numbers and plans. My battles were on paper. Hers were in the real world, with a tiny human who depended on her for everything. Maybe $2,000 was enough in numbers, but not enough in meaning. Still, another voice inside me whispered, "But if you give her more, what if she doesn't save? What if years pass and there's nothing left?" I closed my eyes, torn between logic and love. In the dark, I finally admitted something to myself, even though I earned $15,000 a month. I felt poor, not in money, but in peace. A few days later, I went back to Emily's parents' house. The baby was crawling on the floor, laughing as he played with a toy car. His laughter filled the room, but between Emily and me, the air was heavy. We sat across from each other. She looked tired but calm. I finally broke the silence. Emily, I began softly, I've been thinking a lot. I know we argued about money. I know you feel hurt. But I need to understand. What do you really want from me? She looked at me carefully, then spoke slowly. I don't want only money, Daniel. I want partnership. I want to feel that we're building a life together, not living two separate lives. You give me a fixed amount like a boss paying an employee. That's not marriage. Her words stung, but I forced myself to listen. I'm not asking you to hand me everything you earn, she continued. I just want enough to feel secure. Enough so I don't have to borrow from friends or count every dollar before buying milk. Enough so I can breathe. I leaned forward. But Emily, I worry that if I give you too much, we won't save for the future. Houses, land, investments, those are for our family too. She nodded slowly. Yes, the future matters. But what about today? Our baby is growing every day. I'm living the present, Daniel. And sometimes, the present feels harder than the future you keep talking about. Her words hit me like a wave. For the first time, I realized we were not really fighting about money. We were fighting about trust, about roles, about how to live as a team. I sat back and took a deep breath. So, what if we try something different? What if we make a budget together each month? We decide the amount for daily needs, the baby, and savings together. Not you alone, not me alone, but us. Emily's eyes softened, but tears formed again. That's all I ever wanted, Daniel. To feel like we're in this together. The baby crawled over and grabbed my leg, laughing. I picked him up, holding him close.